The Atman can be described as impartial, neutral witnesser. Also, this witnesser can be said to be the embodiment of perfect, complete knowledge or wisdom, which is not tainted by the selfishness of ego, because it does not have an individual self-identity. A third way of understanding Atman is what we call consciousness. And this is the topic for today's discussion. Consciousness is present no matter what state you are in. Awake, alert, or deep sleep without any dreams, or dream sleep. Consciousness, of course, leaves the body because it can be thought of as the pacemaker that is charging the body when the body is alive and there is flow of air. But consciousness is still present, and that is the thing that is left behind after death. That was the thing that started this life. So understand that consciousness, when we talk about in Bhagavad Gita, agyascha ashraddhanascha na sanshayatma vinashati naim loko asti na paruna sukham sanshayatmana. He talks about agyascha ashraddhanascha, person who is ignorant and faithless. That person is sinking deeper in the ocean of doubts, and those doubts lead to further speculation and experimentation and curiosity and need for experiencing manifest world, what we call desires. So when you die, depending on your what I call karma bandhan, you can or you will be most likely trapped in the lower three lokas, what we call Bhulok, which is earth, and then Bhuvarlok, which is the solar system, all the sun, moon, other planet, extraterrestrial life or alien life as you call it, and Swarglok, which is the loka of devas. Now, above that, there is Maharlok, where there are rishis or sages who are doing deep contemplative meditation, and these have higher powers than those of the devas. That is why sometimes in Mahabharata you will see devas getting curses from the rishis. They are the Maharlok, extremely powerful rishis. And of course above that is the Janlok, Taplok and Satyalok. So even higher versions of consciousness, which is totally broken away from ahamkara or ego. So understand that the consciousness will remain whether you leave this body or you are in the body, and that part is the Atman. Now consciousness can be tagged with cause and effect of manifest world, which will be haunting and hovering around it, just like a receptor to the ligand, a body, a shadow to the body. There is a cause and effect bondage that is there, which is haunting the lower lokas, the three lower lokas. So Bhulok, Bhuvarlok and Swarglok. Even devtas are going to the Bhog Yoni or the enjoyment Yoni, and they have to come back because this is where you can burn maximum karma, in the Bhulok. And by consciousness, I don't only mean biological life as you and I know it. A raindrop falling from the clouds will attain a spherical or elliptical shape which has minimum surface tension. Or an apple falling to the earth because of the force of the gravity, or presence of the electric field moving currents in a certain way. So all these are manifestation of consciousness or awareness. Not only just plants, what the heliotropic movement of the flower towards the sun, like a sunflower, or the plants trying to move their leaves towards the sun, or absorbing the water through the roots to pump it up through the xylem. You see, everything has consciousness, whether it is plant life, obviously animal life and human life, we claim to be the highest level of consciousness. But the working of the organs inside us, the liver working with the kidneys and brain and heart, all of this sync in teamwork that they do. This is consciousness. And this consciousness will exist inside the human body, singularity of human like we claim to be, but also in the organs inside the human body, and similarly inside a plant life or a unicellular bacteria, virus, or even the mahabhuts, the panch mahabhuts of fire, earth, air, water, ether. They will bend and work in certain directions and certain ways depending upon the consciousness. So you cannot escape consciousness whether you are in the manifest world or the unmanifest world. The amount of consciousness varies because Atman itself is indivisible and it is a portion of the Brahmanical Paramatma. The amount of Atman that is lying, or for the sake of discussion we'll call it consciousness, lying in a Mahabhut, might be less than that in a plant, might be less than that in an animal, might be less than that in a human, and might be less than that in a realized human like a Paramhans, like Ramakrishna or Yogananda. But you see where I'm going with this. The consciousness is pervading each and everything, and even after you die, you have to remain as a witnesser. Even if you lose your senses, you cannot be an enjoyer anymore. The two basic cardinal features of Atman are witnesser and enjoyer. Now, when the witnesser cannot enjoy anymore because of lack of the Sukshma Sharir, which is providing its further apparatus of mind, senses, indriya and ego, it has been eroded of these faculties which were helping it enjoy or suffer for that matter. So it becomes a witnesser, and that part is again attached to this Sukshma Sharir, subtle body of mind, senses and ego, so that you can experience or suffer based on the bondages of Karma Bandhan. However, Karma Bandhan is applicable only to the manifest world. The manifest world is the world of planet Earth, solar system, and also to the Swargaloka. So these three lower lokas, here you will have Karma Bandhan, here you will have rapid accretion and dissolution of karma, consequences depending upon the causes. All these things will operate in the lower three only. And that is why most of the times the bonded Atma, or Atma that is not liberated or emancipated or enlightened, will continue to oscillate in these realms, and more so in the Bhulok. But every now and then, depending upon its activities, it might go to the higher Swargalokas or even the lower lokas, Tal, Talatal, Patal, and then come back to the earth. Because the maximum burning, maximum hastening of the activities can only happen in this realm of earth, Prithvi, Bhu. So, to sum it, my friends, know yourself to be a morsel of consciousness, and this will remain even when the moiety of enjoyment is taken away from you, when the senses die with this body. You will remain in the subtle body form till the cause and effect can be figured out, or if you need to shed the coil of your Sukshma Sharir, subtle body, so that you can go to the Bhuar Lok or Swarglok. But then also you have to come back, because there's something that you have discarded and which you have to wear it back again, the Sukshma Sharir. And then, of course, the hardest is to get rid of the cause and effect bondage of Karan Sharir, which is creating the causal body or the innermost core of the three bodies: gross body, subtle body, and causal body. So causal body is a combination of Atman with the karma bandhan. The karma bandhan represents the cause and effect, and the Atman represents the witnesser. The cause and effect represents the enjoyment / suffering portion that the Atman takes every time he gets doubtful, curious, desirous, skeptical, confused. In those states, because there is lack of agyascha, shraddhanascha, sanshayatma, vinashiti, there is loss of knowledge from the faithlessness and the ignorance from the obsessive compulsive ideas. These obsessive compulsive ideas that the naked Atman is developing leads to the formation of the sensory organs so that you can experience whatever your obsessions are until they are exhausted. So, to sum it up, my friends, consciousness is present in all the 7 lokas, from Bhulok to Brahmalok. But your karma bandhan, cause and effect, is only relegated to the lower 3 lokas: Bhulok or earth, Bhuarlok or solar system, and Swarglok or the heavenly body abode. However, once you transgress these 3, you are liberated. You are liberated from the karma bandhan. You are not in the Brahmalok realm, but you are liberated from the karma bandhan. And you can always come back, as I have talked before, as Avdhut and Avtara, depending upon your level of the loka you are living at, to experience the human life or other forms of life in this world, to direct other individuals, inspire, motivate the bonded souls to be released. But at the end of the day, karma bandhan is there whenever you come in these 3 realms, for individuals who have not been released of this coil of karma bandhan. Other individuals like Avdhut and Avtara don't have to worry about it, because they are, once you are released from karma bandhan, you are not trapped by it again, even if you come in this world. That is the way it operates. That is why Lord Krishna or Lord Rama, they won't have to come back to fulfill whatever the karma they did, because all their karmas are in the realm of nishkam karma, and there is no repercussive cause and effect coiling of the karmas for them to be burned again. So, understanding that, try to burn your existing karmas, to burn the coil of the cause and effect or karma bandhan in the causal body, so that slowly you will ascend through the Bhulok, Bhuarlok, Swarglok, and at some point you will transgress the lok of Swarga, so that you can go to the Meherlok, Janlok, Taplok, Satyalok, Brahmalok, all these places where you don't have to be under the control of karma bandhan, and you can lead your life as the witnesser. Although some of these states might still have a morsel of ahamkara, that is how rishis in Meherlok can curse the devtas in the Swarglok. But that ahamkara is also for restoration of the Brahmanical neutrality. There is no evil component to that. And knowing that, work with your consciousness to become the pure witnesser that you are, because that's the Atman in the Karan Sharir that has been able to break away the causal bondage. And that is how you dissolve the causal body to become the Atman and merge with the Paramatman. Hope you like this lecture. Please leave your comments below. Jai Shri Ram.